Welcome to Mock Draft Monday, as today I bring to you a 2024 NFL mock draft with intrigue, trades, shocking picks. Yes, it's going to be a certified banger. But first, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. And I got to give a special thanks to Underdog Fantasy. If you like weekly best ball or higher or lower on player props, then check out Underdog Fantasy. They don't just do football, they do all kinds of sports. And when you sign up using promo code Broshmo, they will match your first deposit up to $100 reduce. But please bet responsibly. You see the code, it's on the overlay. Let's go ahead, let's switch screens because I need room, because we're doing trades today, but we're not going to do trades with pick one here. I know you saw Marvin Harrison on the thumbnail, and guess what? With Chicago, I'm going to be taking Caleb Williams. Oh man, I could see the comment section already. Listen, I have drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. before for the Bears. I've traded out of this pick, and I have taken quarterback at this pick. I have done a variety of different themes with the Bears. I'm going to go ahead and do what I think is probably the most logical thing. Now, Fields, people might be like, oh, okay, well, he's coming off a bad game against the Browns. I don't think that's necessarily true. His picks weren't his fault, in my opinion. And yeah, he could have been more accurate, but he also had some dropped balls in there. I don't think he played particularly bad against the Browns, but yes, there's obviously some problems with Getsy and his offense. I just think at the end of the year, it's easier to get what you can for Fields, especially if he plays well down the stretch. You could get maybe a second and a conditional second, or maybe a second, third, and a fourth. Like, I think you could get legit draft capital for him, and then use this pick to draft your quarterback of the future, resetting the rookie contract for a quarterback. Remember, Fields will only have one more year left on that rookie deal, and then you're gonna have to do a fifth-year option, which right now it's be $23 million a year, but who knows, it'll be a year from now. But instead, you could just go ahead and get a new 4 years of a rookie deal with Caleb Williams here. I just think it makes more financial sense. I can see this going a lot of different ways. The Bears are going to be so fascinating in the offseason. With all that being said, we're going to take Drake May for the Patriots. They're going to draft a new quarterback. They're here at 2. Let's do it. The question is, will Bill Belichick be the coach there? I know there's rumors out there that they've already decided to move on from Bill Belichick. Again, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled, making people believe he did not exist. Bill Belichick, you will not trick me. Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of is the pick here for the Cardinals. We could experiment with the trade down, but I feel like if you're the Cardinals, you basically get a shot at the best prospect in this class here at pick 3. You kind of go ahead and do it. So they already got a lot of draft capital in this draft class, which we'll see a little bit later. But yeah, you just go ahead, select Marvin Harrison Jr. And now the draft officially begins? Perhaps? Nah, maybe not really. I'm actually going to go with Olu Fashanu. I think for Washington, this pick seems pretty easy. You get your pick of any tackle on the board, and you get cheaper at tackle and hopefully better at tackle as Andrew Wiley, not been good. Charles Leno, up there in years. He gets real expensive next year, so you get to replace that. So we're going to go ahead with Olu Fashanu. All right. We're back here with the Chicago Bears, and I promised y'all trades, and we got a trade here. That's right. We're going to trade out of this pick with a team that is going to move up for a quarterback. That's right, because look at these teams. I mean, you got the Giants, you got the Falcons, Raiders. There's a couple of teams here that can go quarterback. I'm eyeing the Giants here, where it's like, okay, if I want to maybe move up and get quarterback 3 in this class, I probably, to be safe, should get ahead of the Giants. So I'm going to go ahead, and the team that's going to make that move is the Atlanta Falcons. So in terms of the draft capital, the trade here, listen, trade value varies all the time. It really does. There's not a good way to be like, well, is this a good trade or not? There really isn't a great way. I mean, people have their tables and their charts out there, but draft value is changing all the time. I went ahead, I pulled this from last year's trade between the Cardinals and the Lions. I was between pick 6 and pick 12, so a little bit different. So try to make it as fair as I could. So we're gonna have them swap first. I'm gonna have the Bears receive the second, and then in exchange, the Falcons are actually gonna get this pick 105. But to sweeten the pot, the Falcons are also gonna give them pick 147 because, hey, you're trying for a quarterback, so you probably should give a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead, send this trade through. Bears are now at pick 10, which that's kind of where I want to be because I'm not going to lie to y'all, I'm kind of eyeing the edge class for the Bears, and I feel like that's a good spot to be. Now, with the Falcons, I'm going to be taking Jaden Daniels. I do like him and Bo Nix quite a bit, but Jaden Daniels just has that special he can be a special improviser. Bo Nix doesn't have that, at least to the Jaden Daniels level. So we're going to snag him there. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet, so send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals, and guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. With the New York Jets, I thought about doing maybe a Rome Odunze or a Malik Neighbors. Ultimately, I was like, you know what? I just want to protect poor Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go ahead with Joe Alt. He's tackle 2 in here. I actually have him higher on my board than Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. Some people will have like Keon Coleman, but I think Keon Coleman, he's probably at the bottom of that tier 2 guys, just because Neighbors and Odunze are just going to be test out like phenomenal athletes. The New York Giants, I was kind of in a tough spot. I tried to look for other trades, but I couldn't find one that I was really satisfied with. So ultimately, as the Giants, since 3 quarterbacks are off the board, the top 2 tackles are off the board, I'm actually just going to go ahead and take a receiver, and I'm going to take Malik Neighbors. I think that was honestly the best that I could do. I tried experimenting later in this draft with moving the Giants up, and we'll talk about that when we get there. All right, we got the Chargers. Hey, Brock Bowers is on the board. Justin Herbert would love a Brock Bowers. I hope they clean up shop and just get a whole new coaching staff in there. Shoot, they're going to get a new GM. We know that as well. So I'm excited to see who they bring in. I think it's going to be a very, very enticing. I think enticing is the word I'm looking for. It's going to be a very enticing landing spot for coaches and coordinators. So I'm just going to give freaking Herbert more weapons. I think the offensive line is fine as is. Yeah, I think they could probably upgrade the right tackle position, but I think Trey Pipkins is fine enough, and I'm going to let the next regime decide if they're content with him being the worst player on the offensive line. So, because what was that saying? You're only as good as your weakest link. If they're confident enough with Trey Pipkins as their weakest link, then cool. Let's just go ahead, grab Bowers. I didn't think I wanted. Honestly, I didn't want to go with tackle because I really think it's just playmakers with the Chargers. None of them can stay healthy or have proved outside of Keenan Allen consistent. Even Austin Eckler, which he's not going to be here next year. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead with that. Tennessee tight ends, man, I really want to go somewhere else. I was thinking receiver. I was thinking corner. At the end of the day, I was like, man, Will Levis just got killed because his offensive line sucks. Let's go with OT3. In this class, for me, that is J.C. Latham. He has been utterly fantastic since the Texas game. The Texas game wasn't his finest game, but he has been money ever since. We're going to go ahead and do that. And now we're going to be back here with the Chicago Bears. And my plan worked to a T. I get my pick of any edge rusher on the board. This will be the first defensive player picked in this class. And hey, I think Jared Verse is actually the perfect fit for Matt Eberflus. I do think Eberflus will be back, even if Luke Getsy is gone. I think Eberflus is. I think they're going to give him a longer leash, especially with how good the defense has been looking. And if that's the case, I think Verse is actually a better fit for Eberflus's defense. All right, we got the Green Bay Packers, and I was just going to be like, okay, well, I think I'm just going to take corner here. And then I got to thinking, I was like, okay, maybe a team moves up now that the first edge is off the board. So, and I feel like I could get away with moving down a little bit and still getting a good corner. Because ultimately, that's what I want. I want a corner for the Packers. So I was looking, I was like, okay, what team could move up for an edge? Some people would like the Broncos. And we could talk about the Vikings. They got their own problems other places. Ultimately, I was like, you know what? Maybe the Arizona Cardinals do this trade. So I got to looking. Like, okay, let's see what the Cardinals are working with, because they got a heck of a lot of draft capital if they want to make moves in this class. And I think they would definitely make a move like this, where they're moving up 6 spots. I'm pulling this trade from 2022, the Saints, when they moved up with the Washington Commanders from 16 to 11. So we're going to work with very similar draft capital here. I'm going to end up pitching these middle 2. Am I? Yeah, no. 81's high. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pitch 81 and 133. That feels a bit better to me. So, I mean, the Cardinals got a lot of draft capital. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to move up. We're going to take an edge rusher. It's going to be Latu. Dallas Turner, I didn't feel good about having both him and BJ Ojolari edge players who aren't like the biggest guys. So I wanted to get someone with some size. Latu has that size at 265. Hopefully everything checks out medically well with him, but he was by far the most dominant edge rusher in football last season. So we're going with him. Las Vegas Raiders. This was actually a position I wanted to trade down in. I wanted to be like, okay, well, let's move down and maybe just grab more draft capital. And in all honesty, I couldn't find a team that was willing to trade up, or at least for the right price. So ultimately, I was like, you know what? Aiden O'Connell, listen, I'm not saying he's not the answer, but take that Chargers game with a pinch of salt, please. Because just a week prior, he got annihilated by the Minnesota Vikings. I think Aiden O'Connell, coming into last year's draft, I thought he could be a high-end backup in the league. My stance on that hasn't changed. I don't think he could be a franchise guy. We'll see. Is it worth a shot with them? Perhaps. I still think during the offseason, they should bring in a veteran to compete with him. That's not Jimmy G. But ultimately, I was like, you know what? Okay, if we're not going to have any shenanigans here with quarterback, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just snag Drazon Newton. He's one of my top defensive prospects. I think he just adds a whole lot of fire to the middle of that defense. A very good run defender as well. Okay, so I'm here with the Seattle Seahawks, and they're one of the tougher teams to project what to do with. I thought about Bo Nix. I thought, do I just send it with Rome Odunze? I'm not going to lie. And that got me thinking, I was like, okay, well, someone will probably want to move up from Rome Odunze. So who might be one of the thirstiest teams in here for a receiver? You know, I know some people are like the Chiefs. Aha. I'm actually going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars for this. Now, this one was a little tricky because they got to move up 10 spots. Move from 23 to 13. So I was like, okay, what am I going to pull here? Well, I went back to the 2021 NFL draft, and I'm pulling this from the Jets-Vikings trade, the trade where the Jets moved up for Elijah Vera Tucker. Vikings eventually landed Christian Darrisaw. So I'm pulling from that trade. So we're going to swap our first round picks here, which I feel really good about being Seattle and moving down to 23 and being able to, okay, I could kind of maybe go with what I want, or maybe go with not reach so much on my board for a potential need there. So we're going to have the Jaguars are going to drop us pick 55, pick 98, and we're going to go ahead and give them pick, I'm going to go with 150. All right. Send that through. Now, be like, that's a lot of draft capital for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they've already assembled a very good team. I really do. I think they're going to re-sign Josh Allen in the offseason, and they're going to feel like, okay, yeah, we need to maybe address some parts on our offensive line, or we're hoping some of our young guys to take that next step, and maybe a Luke Fortner and a Anton Harrison. But maybe we could acquire some other parts in free agency. Let's go ahead. Let's get a receiver, because Calvin Ridley, we're not positive if he's really the answer. He's done a little Houdini. Now you see me, now you don't. Though you look at his numbers, like, okay, he's been relatively solid, but is he what you're looking for in a number one wide receiver? You still have Christian Kirk there, but I think going out and grabbing a Rome Odunze, man, gives a lot of firepower to the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, sitting here with the New Orleans Saints, thought about a lot of different options. I even looked at some trade possibilities. Couldn't find one I was very satisfied with. I think because I really wanted to trade down and draft like a Troy Fautanu, someone who will come in and immediately play left guard. And if Trevor Pennon continues to suck, then we kick him out to left, kick Fautanu out to left tackle. That was my initial plan. I couldn't find a trade down partner, so I'm gonna just say screw it. Let's Pete Carmichael. I think he's gonna be here forever. I really do, as the OC. He loves a guy that can go through all his progressions and continually make the right read. That's Bo Nix. I know some people, some people don't love Bo Nix, but I think Bo Nix can be a capable starter in the NFL, and he could probably hang around that top 15 to top 12 area, and maybe even depending on how good the situation is around him, be a top 10 quarterback every now and then. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix, man. What can I say? I like Bo Nix. I think he could put a team over the edge, especially if the Saints are like, no, we're still in a Super Bowl window. Then they're gonna have to do something about quarterback, because quarterback's kind of a disaster. Denver Broncos, I decided to stay on this pick and go with actually the first corner off the board. Didn't even realize it. And I'm going to go with Kool-Aid McKinstry. It's pretty close between him and Nate Wiggins. However, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? Maybe they loved Patrick Surtain pick so much. They're like, hey, let's go back to Alabama. Let's pair him up with a Kool-Aid McKinstry, because they really don't have a corner two there, or at least a good corner two. Some people would be talking about, is it McMillan? Jaquan McMillan, he's a slot guy, guys. He's a slot. Not playing on the outside. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers. I actually really liked staying put with this pick, and I went ahead and I took Armarius Mims. I'm pairing up the Georgia tackles. Dan Moore's been really bad this year, really bad. So you grab Armarius Mims. You could probably keep Mims at right tackle and move Broderick Jones over to left. That was initially, I assume, what the plan was anyway, but it'll be okay. You're immediately getting two exceptionally good run blocking tackles, and if they hit their ceiling, you're probably getting the soon to be top 5 tackle tandem in the NFL. I'm gonna snag him here. All right, we're gonna stay put here because this was the Packers. We moved down. We already saw one corner off the board. We're going to go ahead and take my corner one in Nate Wiggins. The Packers are suckers for phenomenal athletes at the corner position, a la Eric Stokes. They can't stay healthy at corner. Let's go ahead. Let's get more competition, get more talent in there. It's also the most volatile position in the NFL. So we're going to go with that there. All right. So Bills, I thought about a couple of different options here. I was like, okay, Keon Coleman's not a bad option, but it's a very good wide receiver draft. So if I want to maybe go wide receiver a little bit later, because looking, Bills, they do have their second, their third. They have another third. So hold on, my bad. They have their second, they have their third. I was looking at the Eagles picks. Whew. Eagles. You got all the picks. So they got their second, they got their third. If we want to address wide receiver, we can literally do it in those 2 rounds. Instead, I want to get a versatile player in the secondary. One that can maybe play outside, slot, or safety. So I'm going with Cooper DeJean. I don't know if he's going to be healthy for the All-Star circuit because he did have a leg injury that ended his year in November. So hopefully he is. Regardless, you're getting one of the more most athletic guys in this class. He has a true nose for the football, and he gives you return capabilities. Don't you love that? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm not going to lie. This was pretty easy. I was like, okay, Mike Evans is a free agent. Let's go ahead and grab Keon Coleman. Another big contested catch guy. Nailed it. All right, I'm sitting here with the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm like, okay, maybe they re-sign Kirk Cousins, but I don't know if they will. So I'm staring down the barrel of, do I want to take quarterback 5 here? And I'm not gonna lie, the answer is no. As of right now, it's not. I don't think I would take Michael Penix in the first. JJ McCarthy, let's wait for this playoff run, and then I will make a decision on is he a fringe first rounder. The guy's young, might end up returning to school. So I ended up going with the trade. Because I was like, okay, well, we just saw Keon Coleman come off the board. Maybe a team's like, okay, well, there go the receivers. Let's just go ahead and move up and ahead of some of these other teams so we can draft a receiver. And I'm looking at this Chiefs team who the Bengals are right in front of them. Who T. Higgins will be a free agent. The Colts. Michael Pittman is a free agent. So you have teams that could take wide receivers. Go ahead, get your top wide receiver among that third tier, because that third tier is pretty thick. There's a lot of good wide receivers there. So I went ahead, I did a trade, Minnesota Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs. And ironically, I pulled this trade from the Chiefs' own trade in 2022, where they moved up from 29 to 21 with the New England Patriots. That move got them Trent McDuffie. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to swap these first. I'm going to have the Chiefs. They're going to go ahead and they're just going to send them this pick 89, this 3rd round pick. In the Trent McDuffie trade, the Chiefs sent a 3rd and a 4th, but that pick was like pick 94 and pick 121. I think 89 will be fine enough to move up just 5 spots rather than the 8 spots. The Chiefs moved up in 2022. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to send that through. And now we got the Chiefs picking. Ain't this great, y'all? And I really like the Chiefs snagging Brian Thomas in this draft. I am a huge sucker for Brian Thomas. Big fan of Brian Thomas. I love the landing spot. Pairing him up with your Travis Kelce and your Rashee Rice, I think it's just a very nice combination. All right, pick 21. And, dude, Dallas Turner being here is just ridiculous value. Can't pass on that. I'm going to go ahead and snag it. You're going to be pairing him up with another very good athlete in Byron Young as your pass rushers moving forward. That's just all kinds of sexy. All right, I'm sitting here with the Indianapolis Colts, and I thought about Chop Robinson, but I was like, do I want to grab another potentially project developmental edge rusher who just has very, very high-end tools? Because that's kind of Chop Robinson. His production's kind of been all over the place, and You just know this dude's twitched up out of his mind, probably the most explosive, potentially the most explosive pass rusher of this class. Do the Colts want to do another one? Grab another guy like that? I mean, they already did with guys like Kwity Paye and Deo Odenigbo? Can't remember. The Vandy guy. So, said we're going to go ahead and address the secondary. We know Gus Bradley doesn't like the blitz. One of the lowest blitz rate, the lowest blitz rate actually in the NFL. So if you're not going to create pressure, if we're not, don't feel good about anyone who can help create pressure, we can at least force some coverage sacks. And that's the plan. I'm going to go with Terrion Arnold. In terms of build, speed, he's got it. Might need a little bit more polish, but he's got flexibility on the outside and in the slot. Kenny Moore still playing solid, but is up there in years. How old are you, Kenny Moore? Feels like you've been around for like 10 years. Wow, you're just 28, bro. Very nice. Feels like you've been around a lot longer. Regardless, you get a very flexible corner here. It's a volatile position. Do you really want to just go into next year with 2 second-year players? One in Juju Brents, who has been banged up this year, and then Jalen Jones. Yeah, Jalen Jones, the Texas A&M guy, who honestly has shown some flashes. So I'm going to go ahead and snag him here. Okay, I am here with the Seattle Seahawks, and again, kind of have no idea what to do here. And ultimately, I settled on going with Talanisa Fuaga. Now, I think you drafted him as a guard here. He's going to come in, he's going to play right guard. You can move, if you really feel good about Anthony Bradford, you can move him over to left guard because Damian Lewis, I believe, is a free agent. Or if Abraham Lucas continues to be hurt like he has been this year, Fuaga, bam, there's your right tackle. I hope that's not the case because, yeah, Abraham Lucas had a phenomenal rookie year. It's unfortunate he hasn't been able to build upon that because of injury, but, you know, availability is the best ability you could have in the NFL. So I'm going to go ahead, snag him here. I got the Bengals, which kind of sucks. I really wanted that pick. I really would have loved Fuaga here for the Bengals. Didn't happen, is what it is. T. Higgins is going to be a free agent. If I can't address right tackle, I'm going to go ahead and address receiver. Even if they franchise him, they lose Tyler Boyd, but I can't imagine they will have the finances to keep both him and Jamar Chase. Just don't see that happening. So I'm going to go ahead and snag Troy Franklin. I think him and Brian Thomas are very similar prospects in some regard. I think you're going to get a little bit better contested catch ability, at least contested catch ability right now with Troy Franklin. I don't think that's the case, actually, dude. Brian Thomas got mad ups. Well, you're getting the better route runner as of right now. Brian Thomas still lacks the polish in that. All right, Minnesota Vikings. I'm not going quarterback. I'm just not. You know what? I acquired some picks if I want to think about it on day 2 because I got this pick 52. I got 89. So now you got a third rounder. If you really want to move up, you can move up in the second round for it. I'm just not going to do it. Just not going to draft a quarterback here. I'm going to go with Chop Robinson, Daniil Hunter. Even if they bring him back, need to find a running mate for him. Bam. Suddenly you got 2 of the scariest, most explosive players coming off the edge there. Good value here for Chop. We got the Houston Texans. I'm going to go with Kamari Lassiter. I think it's a good fit. Could go with the receivers. Receivers started popping off the board. But honestly, it's a very deep receiver class. I'm kind of fine there. I really want to find that player next to Derek Stingley. Steven Nelson's fine, but he's more of a journeyman. I want to find that guy on the outside. For me, Kamari Lassiter would be a really good fit for DeMeco Ryans. The Dallas Cowboys. I thought about tackle. I'm a big fan of Jordan Morgan. Don't know how well of a fit he might be here. Actually, I think he'd be a solid fit here. It's kind of irrelevant. I thought about Troy Fautanu. And you know what? I was like, I want to get another threat next to CD. I want to get just a freak, an utter, absolute freak. They're probably going to part ways with Michael Gallup. Brandon Cooks is nice and all, but give me a freak, a guy that has that size to go up and get it, but he's also got some crazy long field speed at his size. I'm going to take Xavier Leggett. I think someone's going to fall in love with him. I don't know. We'll see him at the Senior Bowl. I'm really excited about that. Detroit Lions, played with a couple ideas, thought about maybe going with the guard, but at the end of the day, I was like, for me, this is like corner or edge. Brilliant Trice is on the board. I don't want to really pass up on that. Likewise with the Dolphins, currently my favorite pick here has been, where he at? Jackson Powers Johnson. I'm an utter mark for him. I just think he is the best center in this class by far. I think he's up there with, I know a lot of people love Troy Fautanu, which, yeah, I got him ahead of Jackson Powers Johnson, but not by much. Dolphins, Connor Williams, coming off the ACL. I think he's a free agent. I'm not positive. I guess I can look that up real quick. Connor Williams. Contract. Not center. Here we go. Yeah, it's just a 2-year deal with the Dolphins. Yeah, so he is a free agent after the season. Oh, Liam Eichenberg, I don't like him at center. You could keep him at guard. He's had some moments there, but still, I'd probably be looking for an upgrade. But regardless, you need a center. JPJ can be that guy. All right, so I told you I thought about another trade in here. So I was like, maybe a team would move up so they could get a quarterback on that 5th-year option. And Philadelphia Eagles, like, they're a team that, honestly, I mean, they love acquiring draft capital and then using it later, or using it to get good players cheap. And they're a team that's pretty hard to project for. I feel like it doesn't matter if I take tackle, corner, wide receiver, edge, whatever. It just feels like no one's happy about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take your pick away. So I was like, okay, who can I trade with the Eagles? So I talked about the Giants earlier. And I was like, the Giants don't got a lot of picks. I mean, we got 39 and 45. So it's like I can maybe live with giving away one of those for quarterback 5 in this class, get that 5th-year deal. But do I really have to? Maybe I could just sit and be content with a JJ McCarthy, a Michael Penix, I don't know, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, if those guys declare. I think I would be. So ultimately, I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to trade with the Giants. Then I thought, I was like, oh, or I could take a team who will get their first shot at a position group. And I ultimately went with the Green Bay Packers, who have a ton of freaking draft capital. They really do. So I pulled this trade from 2022, Jacksonville, when they moved back up into the first round with trading with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to acquire Devin Lloyd. Honestly, it was a relatively inexpensive trade for the Jaguars. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it relatively inexpensive. I'm gonna go with 111, and I'm gonna go with 134. Send this trade through, and I'm actually gonna go with safety. Legitimately, I'm gonna go with Tyler Nubbin. I'm just gonna keep getting really good athletes in the secondary there. Long, explosive, love it. All right, now we got the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to go ahead and take Troy Fautanu. I think he immediately comes in and he's a really good guard for this squad. Forgot they list him as a tackle, which is fine. There's a chance he could probably play tackle. Could even be a potential replacement in the future for Trent Williams. If he does and ends up being a tackle, if he plays well enough there. But you're getting an immediately very good starting guard. And then the Baltimore Ravens, I was looking into it because first place my head went was like, well, Leonard Taylor is kind of a freak, and Justin Madubuike is a free agent. I was looking at the cap space for the Ravens, and I don't know how they're going to make room if they want to sign him long term. I mean, teams can make it work. I just think he's going to get paid a whole lot of money. So I'm going to go with Leonard Taylor as the replacement for Justin Madubuike. And there it is. A mock draft with trades. You go ahead. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I try to have some fun with this. There were a couple of newer names that you don't typically see, like Troy Franklin and Brian Thomas. I've been really pushing much higher on my board as of late. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.